Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch my videos. It means a lot to me. This video is actually inspired by one of my recent sales, and I definitely didn't expect this item to sell for that much money. I figured I would share with you some recent sales that have sold for a lot more than I expected them to sell, and these were all auctions, okay? If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love auctions, that I sell items sometimes for very low amount, but once in a while I sell items for quite a bit more money, for a lot more money, more than I expected them to sell. And so in this video I am sharing with you today 12 items that did just that. They sold for more than I expected, and I hope this video helps you for the next time that you're sourcing to keep an eye out for these brands or these similar styles or items, so that you can get great sales too. So let's get started. And then, so when I share these items, I'm actually going to share them from the lowest to the highest sell. And then I'll talk a little bit more about why I think it sold for that much and why I decided to place it at an auction, okay? So you can learn a little bit along the way. The first item that I sold in the lowest sell was this Made the Label sweatshirt. I actually had not seen this brand. I had never heard of it. And I saw it and I thought it was interesting. I looked it up, and it's a popular item. There aren't many listed. It's a supply and demand issue. Not many listed and more sold. So I figured, it'd be a good item to pick up. I did notice at the thrift store though that it had a tiny hole on the back, but I still decided to pick it up. It was fairly cheap. I think I picked it up for like $2 or $3 at a regular thrift store, and with the intention to auction it because of that flaw. I started it off at $14.99 and it sold for $17.50, which was great again because I felt like I made something out of nothing. The next item that I picked up that sold for more than I expected to sell was this Victoria's Secret bra. If you don't pick up bras, that's definitely something you need to start doing. Of course, not all brands and bras are the same. Some go for more than others. Victoria's Secret I like picking up. It's very popular. It does pretty well, but the bigger sizes do better, and of course there's certain styles too. So when I saw this item at the bins, and I saw that it was a pretty large size, a 36 triple T, I decided to pick it up. It cost very little, probably like 50 cents or under. And so when I auctioned it, starting price $9.99, it actually sold for $18.50. And so that was nice. I've sold some Victoria's Secret bras for a lot of money, guys. I've sold one for like $46, I think it was, because it was a larger size and there weren't many for sale at that time, and somebody really needed it, I guess. And so that's something to look out for, guys. Bras. The bigger sizes, of course. The next item that sold for quite a bit more money that surprised me was this Free People tank top that I picked up again from the bins. And this one sold for $23. I placed it up at an auction, starting price 99 cents, because it just had some wear, and surprisingly it caused a bidding war, and two people were bidding back and forth, and it still ended up selling for $23. I didn't think they were going to pay, honestly, but the buyer paid right away, and they actually gave me feedback and they really liked the item. Thank goodness. And the next item that sold also for more than I expected were these Victoria's Secret pants that sold for $26 through auction. Yes, I picked these up from the bins for, of course, probably like $1, because they usually are like 12 ounces. And so they were a bit faded, but I usually pick up this style, the boyfriend like sweatpants, because they usually never disappoint. And so based on color and all that and the size, they usually do pretty well. And again, I really didn't think it was going to sell for that much because they were a little faded, but it sold for $26 and they paid right away as well. So that's also an item to look out for. The next item that I picked up that I sold for a lot more money than I thought was this Free People duster. It's like a printed, like, that has the American flag with stars and stripes, and I was actually excited to find this one because I previously have sold it for, I think it was like $50 or more. So I knew it was popular. I actually didn't even look it up, look at the item carefully at the thrift store. I was just so excited. When I got home, I was excited to list it, and then I realized that it had a like pretty large hole on the back. I was a little disappointed, but again, know me, I still list items with flaws, and I listed it auction price. I think it was $9.99, and I ended up selling it for $27. Guys, like seriously, people still buy things with flaws because, you know, if I did notice that there were not many others, but there were others that were listed, and they were listed pretty high. So if somebody really wants an item, of course they wouldn't mind buying an item with a flaw if they could potentially fix it for less money. And so I'm happy to sell it for a little bit less, so that they're happy, of course. This Eileen Fisher top also sold for a lot more than I expected, $27.77. I picked it up from a regular thrift store for $2. It did have some like spots, but again, I auctioned it at starting price 99 cents because I still sell items with flaws, and surprisingly it sold for that much. And I think it was because it was a larger size. It was a size extra large, and there weren't many of that color in that same style for sale, and so, you know, I was just happy to sell it for that much. Next item that sold, again, I was very excited to find it. It was this Lululemon like camel print skirt, and this one I was expecting to get a lot more money for, but then I noticed it had a small hole on the back, so of course I resorted to auctioning it. I did start it off pretty high. I think it was $14.99, and it ended up selling for $29.76 with a flaw. So if you don't know about Lululemon, the prints do matter. I've noticed that the camel prints do sell for a lot more than the other prints. I've sold sports bras for quite a bit. I've sold tops, actually tops not so much, leggings and skirts for a lot more money in that camel print. Okay, so again, same thing. If other items were listed for a lot, you know, somebody really wanted it but didn't want to spend a lot of money, then that's why they purchased my item with a tiny flaw. It wasn't that noticeable, and so, you know, for a fraction of the cost of the others that were for sale. Another item that I recently sold, and I posted in one of my previous videos that I shared, were these Lululemon leggings that had like some flaws, but they still sold for $31. It was shocking, but I think it was because the fabric was Luxtreme, and usually that fabric, I've noticed, that does pretty well, you know, better than the other fabrics. The style, of course, matters. Next item is this J. Jill blouse. I don't pick up all J. Jill. I do pick it up from the bins, but at regular thrift stores, I'm very careful about the J. Jill items that I pick out because they don't sell for a lot, and, you know, they take a long time to sell, certain sizes, certain styles. But when I saw this item, this J. Jill blouse, and I noticed that it was a size 4X, I knew it was going to be a pretty good seller because of that. It's a supply and demand issue. There aren't a lot of the bigger sizes listed, and so I knew it was my opportunity to sell this as an auction, to have, you know, to bring up the price and sell it for the most amount. I started it off at an auction for $19.99, and it ended up selling for $34.69. So I was very happy about that. I picked it up for like $5 at a regular thrift store. These Patagonia shorts that I sold were a shocker. I picked them up from the bins, and I almost wasn't going to pick them up, and I think somebody passed up on them at the bins because they were on top of a bin and people had already looked through them. But I still decided to pick them up again because I love placing things at auctions and giving people like great deals on quality items that have maybe very little flaws. And so these were missing, like the Patagonia on the front was missing, like the A was peeled off. I didn't think it was a big deal, so that's why I decided to pick it up. And so I auctioned it starting price $9.99 like I typically do, and they sold for $48, guys. I didn't think they were going to pay for them. I thought it was going to be a mistake, but they ended up paying for them right away, and so that was a shocker, and I was happy because from like 50 cents to $48, I'll take that any day. This I have two left. I have this Keen Ross, I think that you pronounce it, cashmere sweater that I picked up at a regular thrift store for $2. I had never heard of this brand, but again, it was cashmere, something to look out for, and it was a size 2X. So again, when I was listing it, I was looking at sold comparables and active listings. I noticed that not a lot were listed in that size, in the 2X. So I figured it could like cause a bidding war, and I was right. I started off at $19.99. And it sold for $52.45. Very happy about this sale because, $2 to $52, again, I will take it any day. It helps with my other lower sales. And last but not least, it was an item that I was almost not going to pick up from the bins. I had never seen this brand before. It's Agave Luxe. I looked it up. And then I realized that it had like a spot on the back, and I was almost going to leave it, but I decided just to take a risk and then hopefully make at least $10 for it. To my surprise, it caused a bidding war, and it sold for $53 a week later. Yes, $53. So again, I was very happy about that sale. So now it's an item and a brand that I know to look out for. It might not do that great all the time. It might have been like, two people really wanted it at that time. Could have been like lucky. That's a brand that I will still keep an eye out for. I hope you learned from this video that to not pass up on items with flaws, because a lot of the items that I sold based on these sales that surprised me were items with flaws. People still want your items if they're a great brand and they're going to pay a fraction of the price, and if it's a small flaw that they can potentially repair, or they don't mind, or it's not that noticeable. And I hope you also noticed how I use auctions to my advantage based on like supply and demand, how I used active listings and sold comparables to decide whether this was a great item to place at an auction, whether it could potentially bring me the most money, whether it could potentially cause a bidding war, because guess what, there aren't many others for sale, and if two people really wanted and it's the only that one in that size, then it could potentially again cause that bidding war that can get you the most money. I hope you took that from this video. I'm excited for you to try this out. And if you've had some recent sales that were surprising to you, let me know in the comments. I really like to hear your stories. Again, I really appreciate you watching my video. If this video brought you any sort of value, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed for future videos like this one. Thank you so much, guys. Until next time, bye-bye.